I've built AI infrastructure for companies like BMW and consulted with BCG on multi-six-figure systems. And right now, the AI infrastructure market is wide open. But if you haven't positioned yourself to capitalize on this, you'll spend another year stuck in the commodity trap while the market consolidates around the ones who move early. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how I made that leap, step by step, from the exact strategies that drove real results and closed serious deals to how our systems stand out from generic automations and tools out there. Let's get into it. Let's get one thing straight. Most people trying to sell AI systems start with cold outreach and wonder why nothing sticks. But my first client came within 24 hours of me trying to. I did not have a huge personal brand or case study folder. I simply went to the location where the buyer's intent is already hot, as high as possible. Think about it, guys. Why spend so much time pitching to random companies hoping they need AI when they're places where decision makers are already searching for what you do? Most of you trying to land high ticket clients are doing so by either cold DMing executives on LinkedIn, reworking case studies that sit in Google Drive collecting dust, building demos for weeks, sending proposals, and then getting ghosted after one call, posting videos on YouTube that get 3 views, and then you're sit there stuck wondering, why is nobody reaching out to me? Instead, I was able to go to Upwork where the leads are already warm, asking for the exact solution, the exact mechanism that I can provide to them. I didn't need to hard sell, I just showed up with a system that worked with energy, enthusiasm, and high intent to deliver results. I sold a real estate chatbot on Upwork for $180, which was my first ever lead and my first ever client that I got in this industry. As you can see, it was incredibly straightforward, and even now on the platform, they're literally asking for people who are good with Zapier, N8N, Make.com, and if you keep scrolling, there are unlimited job applications. All of these were just within the last hour. Zapier, whether that be a voice agent, a content automation. What better place to go in terms of buyer's intent than Upwork itself, as opposed to cold DMing strangers or cold emailing people? And what I did was I would record Bloom videos especially. So you can take a look. This is the message I sent. I did use GPT back then, and I made a Loom video, something that made me stand out compared to my competition tenfold. If we take a quick look into it, we can see this was about a year ago I made this, and let's turn on the audio. I made the exact video showing energy, commitment, and most importantly, that I actually know what I'm speaking about. So now, in terms of a buyer's perspective, a lead, they're already getting so many proposals in forms of text where obviously everyone's using Claude or some type of AI to write the proposal. But when I make a Loom video, it builds so much trust. The same kind of psychology that goes into content as well, especially when we're getting inbound leads. By me showing my face and talking about the system, what exactly he's looking for, showing energy, enthusiasm, and then I would also show a simple system that I've made. I would literally show the exact system that I made. I made a quick POC, and I try to sell that POC as much as I can. Not try to make 100 different SaaS tools, vibe coded tools, browsers, and whatnot. I quickly made a POC, and I decided I am only going to send this chatbot every single place I can. This is the actual chatbot. This one over here, I made it on VoiceFlow back then. As you can see, it is actually really sophisticated chatbot that was capable of for real estate agencies where people will land onto the website and it would recommend them using the Google Maps API what is the nearest location. So it would ideally be trying to soft sell them, you know. For instance, the user would ask, is there a gym nearby? What are the good eating spots nearby? And it would recommend them because it would know the exact location and answer the questions in really good language. So this is what my Upwork profile will look like, as you can see. And the most important thing, guys, I was sending 20 Loom videos a day on Upwork. I was training myself on how to speak, this jargon, the mechanism. Every single time I'm recording a Loom video, going over the system, I'm practicing myself, which is basically a sales call. Because on the sales call as well, even with enterprise clients, you're walking through the mechanism, you're walking through the tools, you're walking through the different edge cases, taking care of objections they had. So I was already practicing really well. And within weeks, I had testimonials, pattern recognition, and most important, guys, proof of concept internally that I can actually deliver these systems, make money off it. And this is when everything started to shift for me and when the serious money actually started to come in. Clients didn't write big checks for just tools. They pay for systems that work without them having to constantly manage them. So if you're still stuck pitching chatbots or automations to clients and businesses, you're going to just position and be seen as another freelancer. But when you say you build AI infrastructure or production grade systems, you're seen as a strategic partner to the business. And that single shift changes everything. Because if you're just seen as a freelancer, guys, it becomes a lot harder to be taken seriously by managing directors, partners at big companies and close high leverage long-term deals. Because when you're just a chatbot guy, decision makers, they just do not take you as seriously when you're competing with people on Fiverr, Upwork, charging $50. You can't get into rooms with CTOs or managing directors, and even when you close something, it's a one-off project, not a true relationship. That one positioning shift is the difference between charging a few thousand for a one-off project and closing 20K retainer deals consistently for billion-dollar brands. And this exact positioning has landed us enterprise clients like BMW and Boston Consulting Group. So if you're a company looking to deploy AI infrastructure, not just chatbots or one-off little systems, but production-grade systems that actually run, click the link in the description to book in a call, and we'll help you install the exact same infrastructure and systems that we've deployed inside multi-billion dollar companies. We've already helped brands like Boston Consulting Group deploy these systems internally and seamlessly without them having to worry about the backend at all. So now is your move. Now let's break down the exact system that was sold and explore what is it that these companies actually value and are willing to invest in. Everyone is often talking about the tools, the AI model, the tactics, the templates. But what is it that actually closes deals with enterprise clients is infrastructure, guys. Something that runs clean, communicates clearly the value prop, and actually delivers what they're asking for on autopilot. Because what these companies really seek and they really pay for is clarity and knowledge, and knowing that the system we are capable of delivering is something that actually drives value. So they want to see how the engine actually works. And this is a lot of times how my sales calls actually go, where we're actually going over the system on a high level. Sometimes we do get into the internal workflows. So let me show you what one of these actually looks like. I started targeting Fortune 500 decision makers, CTOs, partners, managing directors, and posted consistently and daily on LinkedIn. Not generic AI tips, but actual system breakdowns, case studies, stories from the trenches, my origin story for instance. And as you can see over here, these are the types of posts, where this one would be more about me, humanization element to that. Because you'd be surprised by how many people come to your profile after seeing a post and actually go through every single thing. The amount of sheer sales calls I've had where people ask me about my actual story from Dubai because they read about it on LinkedIn. It's incredible, but that also creates humanization that talks about my personality. Because at the end of the day, guys, even Fortune 500 companies, billionaires, millionaires, they like speaking with people. Not bots, not just someone who's only creating really good copy. So talk about yourselves. Talk about the systems you create. Take a look at this for instance. This is one of our biggest posts and to date still gets us booked calls and leads. And if you take a look at this, it performed really well. Our asset over here was a breakdown of the system. Not Gemini 3 just came out, here's the best prompts you can use, breaking, Sam Altman is doing this with OpenAI. No. We are only talking about the systems we guys create along with case studies, mechanism-based copy. As you can see, this almost got 9,000 comments. And this is the exact deliverable that we then distribute to everyone who comments with these systems as well. Consistently, guys, we're every single week creating high value systems and breakdowns along with lead magnets about how our systems look. And if you take a look at this breaks down the exact mechanism, workflow 1, 2, 3. It looks like an internal training document that is being distributed among different departments and whatnot. And as we've scaled our own business, hired dev teams all around the world, refined our own internal systems and client systems, along with lead magnets that generate us 40 to 50 qualified sales calls a month, my messaging itself has shifted from I build chatbots to we deploy AI infrastructure for enterprise teams. And that messaging shift created a client shift, which in turn created a budget shift that took us from $180 projects to 20K plus retainers. So here is an example of an end-to-end B2B account intelligence or prospecting system. And let me show you exactly what this system does and why it has been so successful in helping us close deals for this specific service. So first of all, this workflow is divided into a couple of parts where I'm going to briefly go over all of them. This is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6. And finally, let's take a look at the actual database, something that is really important, guys, to enterprise level businesses. They really care about the quality of the data being ingested. What are the different use cases? Where are we getting the data from? What is possible with this data? Can we go into custom websites that require a browser to log into specific credentials and extract the relevant information? What we have over here is an account intelligence platform where the end user simply enters specific details about a segment or a niche they want to reach out to. So in this case, case, we have scraped over here manufacturing companies worth between $500 million to $1 billion in revenue. So in the system, typically how it looks like is you will simply type in natural language over here with the lead request form that find me verified leads in XYZ country with a specific job title or a range of job titles. And you can also talk about the specific revenue levels of the company. You can also mention specific information about their tech stack, the number of employees they have, and the specific niche or the specific industry that they lie in. So that's all you do over here. So we could just simply, let's say we copy this for instance, and you can select the number of leads that it is supposed to scrape in one go, where it can range anywhere from 100 to 5,000 leads. In this case, the system is just a proof of example, as I of course wouldn't want to show real client system where we can simply enter 500 for instance. And once we submit the form, what happens is we go back over here, the leads begin to enter the database one by one by one. As we can see, let's take a look at the data we have. So first what it does is we scrape the companies on a company level, where we get all the companies, we get all the people attached, we get the revenue level, the employee count, we get their NAICS code as well, which is really specific for really specific companies and industries, as they would want to be actually filtering through leads by the specific code. Then we also get recent news about the company. You can take a look at this. All pieces of information that can be really highly relevant for outreach. We get the revenue levels, really important for perhaps private equity teams as they want to know the last quarterly earning reports, and they can also use that information to generate case studies or outreach with specific case studies from their database. Imagine now you're reaching out to a specific lead or prospect with a whole report about why their quarter performance perhaps was not up to expected or fell through, and how they can solve that with a specific case study of the client. Then we also get key challenges the company is facing, their competitors. You can mention the competitors in the copy if the prompting and the framework logic for the AI copywriting is on point. Well, using Claude, you can get some really good copy. And I'm going to show you what the copy looks like. We get opportunities, timing triggers. We get specific investments the company has been making recently, for instance. Again, something that is really useful. Revenue trends, momentum, engagement readiness, likelihood, competitive threat level, and finally the value proposition of this company, which is Meridian Consulting Advisory, which is not a real company. We just changed it for the sake of a demo. And we finally have the recommended approach for the outreach, which the TMT department of Meridian Advisory can do. Then finally, let's take a look at the real magic in the system, which is the people level. So here we have a specific lead who is Mr. Yan. He is the CEO of this company called Avigin. So what we do, number one, guys, we scrape their entire job experience from LinkedIn. So we get an entire list of what their job experience is. This is incredibly useful for specific companies who want to be monitoring their alumni list, and they want to see, oh, if this specific person from XYZ company recently changed a job and he was previously a high-level executive at our company, why don't we outreach to him? Then we get their skills as well from LinkedIn, and then finally we get their MBA background. This is something that we have seen is really useful for consulting businesses and consulting clients, as this is a touching point that they can bring up on conversation in the email copy itself, that hey, we share an MBA from MIT, Stanford, or perhaps Cornell, for instance. Then what the AI does is we go over the network data where we scrape their connections and followers. And let's take a look at this, guys. Nearly 6,000 connections and followers presents at major industry events. And an example of the event is the Chicken Marketing Summit, AVEC EU, National Chicken Council, something that is really relevant for most teams or when they want to do outreach with. But however, if you're a simple business and you're trying to outreach, or you have humans doing this exact process, it is incredibly difficult to extrapolate so many levels of data and actually include that within the copy, right? Because we have such interesting piece of information that Mr. Yan over here, he was at the National Chicken Council, and we can straight away put that into the copy to make it personalized. Then we also analyze their entire LinkedIn activity. We can see what are the common themes he's talking about. What better way, guys, to outreach to someone than actually see what they're talking about, know more about them personally. That is the best form of outreach. When someone does that to me, I actually am a lot more likely to actually at least go through the offer and read through it, as opposed to something that generic that just comes in where someone is just pitching straight away their services. And this is another great example, because we now know what is Mr. Yan talking about on LinkedIn every single day. We know he's talking about Middle East, the KSA investment, industry leadership in poultry or food production, future of poultry industry. As we can see, we also have evidence, and then we analyze the common themes that he's talking about every single time, and we find alignment topics. So this message is being sent from someone at Meridian Consultancy, and his name is Chen. He is the global director or the partner at this company, and he's in the specific TMT department. So what we're doing on a high level, guys, is we're extracting all the information about the lead or the prospect, and we already know the client or Meridian Advisory in this case. We already know the case studies. We already know the profile of the person who's going to be doing the outreach. So we find common talking points between both of them and take a look at the output of the copy. So we find personalized touch points. The AI already recommends this, mutual interests between the sender and the prospect. We suggest specific hooks as well. And it also says outreach angle. Reference Yan's recent KSA expansion post and industry challenge presentation as openings for strategic conversation on enabling sustainable digital transformation anchored in Meridian Advisory's global work with global TMT and industrial clients. And finally, we get some more information where it's basically different AIs talking to each other, where, essentially we have a lot of guardrails and a lot of quality thresholds to ensure that if the copy doesn't pass specific frameworks or specific points, it goes back to the initial AI with feedback about how to improve the copy. And here's what the copy looks like. As you can see, Yan, congratulations on Avigant's KSA expansion, digital resilience thoughts. And take a look at the copy, guys. It's really compelling. We've seen incredible success across all of our enterprise clients with not only incredible amount of positive replies, but this entire process of outbound is completely automated. Take a look. I saw your post announcing Avigant's 200 million investment to create a Middle East supply hub. Congratulations on a bold move. Scaling breeder operations in KSA while meeting biosecurity and sustainability targets is no big feat. And then finally, now we anchor in the actual offer. In our work with global protein and industrial firms, we found that combining blah 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 is over here. The deciding factor is this. And then I lead credibility. I lead our TMT department and recently helped a multi-country poultry integrator stand up to data-driven supply chain control. Let's come back over here. Would a 20-minute discussion be worthwhile as you operationalize KSA? And then we have the actual signature as well. Then we send a follow-up email. The system, guys, it does automatic follow-up, completely customized, so we can have 10 follow-ups, we can have 5 follow-ups being sent after X amount of days. So in this specific system, it is being sent every 10 days, a follow-up, and in this case, the follow-up is full of value once again. It is not just, hey, did you read my recent message? Did you not read it? We're now providing them with case studies about what we have done, getting them more and more excited, telling them what the offer is, along with case studies, as you can see. And then we have a couple more follow-ups over here as we scroll down. And this entire process, guys, is completely automated using AI. So all you do is you fill out the lead form about who you want to talk about. We on the back end have the AI completely customized using vector databases and RAG on your offer, your case studies. So the AI simply then makes a query to all of your case studies, and it can even attach them as PDF slide decks along with really good hyper-personalized copy, as you saw. So this is what a workflow on the high level looks like. So we have a schedule. As you can see, we initially filter the companies. We can use Explorium. Sometimes we use Apollo, and sometimes we also use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to extract the leads. Explorium is a really good database. You guys could check it out. We've seen really good success with it. And as you can see, that's how we get the financial data, the company profile, technology stack, the employee ratings, financial metrics, investment data, business challenges, competitor analysis, and strategic profiles, along with workforce trends. We then typically use Perplexity for market intelligence and to understand more about the company. And we also typically, I would say, use Apify to scrape the leads. In that case, Mr. Yan's entire LinkedIn profile about what he does, about where has he been talking about, what has he been talking about. And as you can see, entire outreach system then also automates the outreach on LinkedIn as well. So the entire process that typically requires 5 to 6 sales reps of scraping leads, then enriching the leads, checking for duplicates in your HubSpot CRM, Salesforce CRM, go high level. This system takes care of all of that, where it goes and checks every single lead scraped with your current CRM, ensures that there are no duplicates, then does the entire enrichment with the internet, finds the emails as well, where we typically use tools such as an email finder, for instance, in order to extract verified emails to ensure that our bounce rate stays low and we're sending it to verified databases. Because, for instance, take a look at this, guys. Yan over here has been at a lot of companies, and typically a lot of the times you put his profile through Apify or any type of B2B prospecting system, it is very likely that it says on paper that it has returned an email, but in actuality it has returned an email for Yan when he was was at a different company. And obviously that number one, that email is no longer usable. It is probably turned off. And even if it is still turned on, he's not going to reply on it because he's not using it anymore. And it's also going to hurt the email reputation's deliverability score. Our email domain is going to reduce the health score. So this is an example of an end-to-end system where we show the data, the type of outreach we're getting. We tell the clients what kind of customization you have. We can customize the actual copy of the AI, the case studies in any shape or form you want. We can do LinkedIn outreach as well. And it's completely hands-off. All you have to do, really just tell the system over here about what you want, what kind of leads you want. You click on submit form and then it goes through all of these processes. And finally, you're presented with the email campaign analytics. This is an example of the system where you can see the amount of people who have been sent the emails, the number of leads interested, the bounce count. And this is a system that was just turned on a couple of days ago. This is an example of what one of these systems looks like. So this is a prime example of a workflow that scrapes, verifies, researches, writes copy and sends it with analytics printed on the back end. Every single node connects. This is not a demo. This is actually an example of what is running in production for high-level clients right now. And we've taken a look at the level of intent that we're pulling on each lead. LinkedIn profiles, recent posts, content patterns, company revenue guys, tech stacks, funding rounds, hiring signals. We're not just finding leads. We're building a complete picture so that every single touch point, copy 1, message 2, follow-up 3, follow-up 4 is completely and directly relevant to them. This system writes copy based on what they're actually posting and doing, not generic templates. We give the AI the freedom to write the copy as it sees fits, but obviously with heavy guardrails and prompting frameworks on the back end of things. The first email is completely personalized to the recent activity. Follow-ups add value, case studies, insights, not just checking in or bumping this to the top of your message. And it completely finally integrates with whatever CRM you're already using. HubSpot, Salesforce, whatever. Leads automatically route in, deduplication so you're not recontacting existing prospects, and reply detection and routing. Once it is complete, it just runs 24/7 on autopilot, with the only form of input required is what type of leads you want to be reaching out to, and even that can obviously be automated. This is the kind of system that enterprise clients dream of. Something that runs 24/7 just once after it's built. No hand holding, no system breaking, and no breakdowns. But there's still one more thing that they always look for, and that is speed. Speed is what earns trust among high-level clients. And while enterprise clients may not explicitly say that they're asking for speed outright, they always notice when someone moves faster than their internal teams. And this is exactly what gave me the edge and allowed me to be introduced and literally embedded within their internal organization across multiple departments and teams internally. While most builders are over-engineering proof of concepts, trying to overthink every single step of the workflow, we focus on shipping real products and systems as soon as possible. And the reason being, guys, is that speed builds trust. And the trust led me to something I never believed myself once was possible: internal referrals. We delivered something for one team, and within days or weeks, we'd get intro to another entire department, then another. And before you know it, everyone internally is talking about our systems. They're showing it to their clients, their internal teams. They're showing it on presentations, raising it up with different partners, managing directors. Entire teams started running on the systems that our team delivered for them. And now I wasn't just a vendor anymore. I was embedded infrastructure that they're internally and externally dependent upon. And that is when everything started changing for us. I stopped chasing clients and they started coming to me internally within such big organizations. And that is exactly how we were able to scale past 20K a month so quickly and rapidly, where the moment we got our first high-level client, we shipped a working system within 6 days. The moment I knew that this is a big fish, this is someone who we potentially in the future could have an incredible relationship with, and we could work extensively in the future, I instantly reallocated all the resources internally, which is what? Budget, devs, to this client specifically. Think about it, guys. It's like I'm playing chess and I can make specific moves that takes me from here to here, where I have specific devs working on these exact clients and systems. But the moment we signed them, I reallocated my best devs all over to them, the ones who are best trained on UI UX, design, speed, someone who I could trust. Instantly, I reallocated all of those resources over to them, and that is exactly how we completely shocked our first enterprise client in terms of delivery. While typically they're used to 6-month long contracts, procurement processes, and things just moving really slow. For a simple system, we built an end-to-end workflow, and that is exactly, and an example of that is a content infrastructure we first built for them. Then we built scoring agents, repurposing systems, custom dashboards. I gave it my A-tier game. We did not treat them just like, any other client. And that still goes to say, for all clients, you should absolutely deliver your resources and the incredible and best systems you can. But I do want to iterate that speed takes you very far, and it's incredibly impressive, where you'd be surprised at how much of your competition are just used to moving slow, lackluster, not much energy. And we also made life as easy for them as possible, where it was simple communication. I did not throw them into a Slack channel. I did not tell them, oh, you can speak to my chief engineer, you can speak to my private secretary, or you can speak to some team member of mine. They communicated with me, which is exactly what they liked, because they saw my content online and they wanted to interact with me, have my head racking over the problems and giving them advice. And we kept communication super streamlined, simple and effective over email, sometimes on WhatsApp as well. So meaning no weekly calls, just screen shares, Loom videos, where we would send them updates that we have made over the system. They would get back to us. A common misnomer in the space is that you need to do everything by yourself, and you need to become the best end-to-end developer in the market or in the world in order to attract big deals and big clients overall. But that is far from truth, guys. I myself began in this space, as you could see through the initial voice flow system that I showed you. A lot of the stuff I built initially was alone myself, trying to get into the inner weeds of it, understanding what does the market want, what actually works in this market, what are people actually excited by and willing to pay big budgets for. But if you're still the only one building, your growth will stall. So there needs to be a touching point after which you're like, okay, my client delivery is now going down and I cannot scale and do everything. Sales, marketing, admin work, invoicing, taking care of devs teams, taking care of client relationships, and actually delivering the systems all by yourself. And the moment I reached that touching point, I began hiring really aggressively in order to understand how exactly I should hire and what type of talent do I want to look for. But the problem is, you cannot close enterprise deals and deliver upon those systems if you're doing everything by yourself. And the problem is that most people, they try to fix this by hiring more, but they do this completely wrong. Here's exactly what I learned the hard way, where number one, guys, you do not want to be hiring people who are trying to start their own AI agency. Number one, they're not as motivated or driven for your own business and for your clients, because they're really just treating your business and your clients as their practice and training ground. They'll disappear the moment they sign the first client themselves. You need to hire someone who is completely focused, locked in on what exactly we're trying to do here. You don't want to hire slow, unmotivated generalists who need to have their hand held on every single task. And you don't also want to be hiring people who claim that they can do everything. As you scale up and you work with bigger businesses, you'll realize that there's a lot of nuance required. I myself have 50 devs around the world with their own specialities. We have people, talented developers with PhDs from MIT, Cornell, who are there to really help with really high level, enterprise level grade infrastructure in terms of data as well. Then we also have people who absolutely specialize with voice agents, because the same underlying talent that goes for creating a really compelling voice agent is not what goes into creating a really good content system. For instance, someone who is creating a content system, the dev for instance, needs to understand what good copy looks like, what good content looks like, because otherwise you're just going to be automating input in, output out, but it's all going to be actual AI slop. The only way to have automations that create really good content, copy for instance, you need to have a developer who also understands the fundamentals and frameworks of marketing, whether that be for LinkedIn copy, Twitter, blogs, or for newsletters. And don't delegate without clarity. If you cannot explain exactly what you need, you'll end up wasting more time fixing their work than doing it all by yourself. So if you're serious about scale, this is exactly what worked for me. I've tried everything at this point, hiring through LinkedIn, Upwork, inbound DMs, referrals, and whatnot. But the number one thing I look for is what is the energy and cultural fit, not just the skills, guys. There are more than 200,000 people sitting on different school communities around the world, all of whom are really excellent with end-to-end flows. But when you're trying to create software, systems that are going to be incorporated by businesses and have someone who's actually using them, you need to train your team through internal docs, hundreds of Loom videos, Claude SOPs. This is what I did. I've built a team of 50 plus specialized devs around the world across different time zones, and not just generalists, specialists. I've trained them on UI, UX, design, which is the most important thing with any software. You can have the most nuanced and sophisticated backend like I often show you. But if the system is not dead simple on how to be usable and how can a client interface with it, it's not going to actually be adopted among the organization or the business you're creating the system for. It is incredibly important to have your devs vetted and trained, and once you have a couple of team members who are really good and get it, you can have them to train team members who are the new hires, interns, for instance. We keep our communications incredibly lean. We don't have big fat Slack channels where people are just texting, having fun, or just essentially getting nothing done. We have daily tasks on WhatsApp, async reviews, and fast feedback loops. I personally like keeping everything asynchronous, not having designated daily calls, daily team meetings, not at all. And that is what creates momentum, guys. You need to be a team, and you need to yourself be someone who moves with speed, with absolute execution. Because at the end of the day, execution is the only thing that matters in business. And here's the real thing. My team has watched me get maybe 20 hours of sleep across an entire week, up at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 1 a.m., 9 p.m., 9 a.m., fixing, shipping, and delivering. And that energy it transfers as a founder, as a business owner. You need to be willing to put your heart, blood, sweat, and soul on the line. Because if you yourself are not, you cannot expect to inspire that same amount of conviction and energy among your team members. My team members see how much I put on the line every single day. We are super intense. I'm super hands-on with a lot of things. And when your team sees you out there bleeding for the work that you care about so much, they show up different and they care about it as well. That is all that matters. Having people who care about what you do and watch them transform and improve their skill set. I love placing my bets on people. I do not give up on people, guys. I have had most of my team, my most senior leadership, or the biggest engineers you could say, or the ones who work on some of our bigger projects, are people I've brought along with me from 6-8 months ago. We've stuck together, I've taught them, and I've also helped them. You know, they've helped me learn so much. I can proudly say that my entire team, all of my developers, are much better than I myself will ever be. Because like I said, you need to hire people who are better than you at what you do. At first, it is good. Be the person who's the best at end-to-end, the best who's, the person who's out there building the systems, doing the sales, creating the content, doing the marketing. But after a while, you need to start hiring people and you need to have people who are better than you at what you do. That is the only way this organization can scale. Whenever I need a new tool to be tested, whenever a new AI tool comes out, Gemini just came out, Nano Banana just came out with a recent pro model. I have my dev team go and conduct experiments. I don't have the time or the brain power anymore to sit there and understand, oh, is Nano Banana a better tool? And let me edge cases, stress test it across different systems if we need to upgrade some of our clients' internal systems already. Now that you know the exact roadmap that I've used to go from selling $180 chatbots on Upwork to building AI infrastructure with BMW and Boston Consulting Group, and if you're a company that's tired of generic automations that break and you want production grade systems that actually run without hand-holding, babysitting them, there's a link in the description to book in a call. We've deployed these systems numerous amount of times across billion-dollar companies, and now we're looking for the next few partners who are serious about AI infrastructure. Thanks for watching.